Rosum and Ragan against Barkon, Pastore, and Noga. So, let's get ready to rock and roll here. Looks like we're going to watch Ragan versus Noga here. It's Grixis mid-range against mono green aggro. And these players will be given the green light, and we will be underway here in just a moment. All right, Dragon Skull Summit will start things off here for Ben Ragan. It'll be a Blooming Marsh for Steven Noga. And no one drop to start as a hub. And the first time we've seen this card all weekend.
Yep.
If you can believe that or not.
And a very good one for this matchup.
It's fantastic in the matchup.
Yes.
Is Glinsley Siphoner, but it's actually the first time we've seen it all weekend, and we've seen a lot of Grixis mid-range on camera.
Yeah. It is a surprise.
This will be a Heart of Kirin for Steven Noga. Glinsley Siphoner, going to use the energy, one from the hub, one from the Siphoner, pay 2 energy, pay a life, draw a card. So already a little bit of card advantage here for Benjamin Ragan. Here's an attack for 2. We have an Arguel's Bloodfast as we head back over to Steven Noga. Now let's actually see something here from Noga. Let's see like a Steel Leaf champion. There we go. Turn up the heart, get in for 4. This is a nice start. No one drop, no Llanowar Elves, no Greenbelt Rampager, but still a good start.
When you're playing against Siphoner plus Bloodfast, you got to pressure Ragan's life total here.
Yeah.
You can't be waiting. He's going to grind you out with extra cards.
Ragan going to get a little bit of energy because of the attack. So he's up to 2 energy, and we'll be able to use Glinsley Siphoner on the next upkeep to pay 2 energy and draw a card if he'd like to. For now, one of the things we've actually seen Ben have a little bit of issue with in the games that we've watched him play, just some mana issues at times.
Yep. It's a 3-color deck, so that's going to come up, and he would rather not use the Aether Hubs to find blue mana because that takes away some resources from the Siphoner to be drawing extra cards.
To Dragon Skull Summit. And that might be a Vraska's Contempt. It is. And you got to do this right now because of Blossoming Defense. You don't want to have to work that card into the equation and get your 4 mana blown up by 1.
It's also a free crew if you allow Noga to go to his turn.
So go back over to Steven Noga, who has a Hot-Shape Oasis. And now there's a main deck copy of Vinemare. And in for 4. And you can see exactly why Vinemare looks fantastic right now, especially in game number 1. You take a look at Ben Ragan's deck list. Patrick, there's not a lot of ways for him to beat this card.
No. I mean, he's just light on removal that can interact, light on blockers that can interact.
I think he's only got 1 Torrential Gearhulk?
1 Torrential Gearhulk.
Oh, wow.
He's got 2 Doomfalls, which if the stars align, you know.
A lot does have to go right for those Doomfalls to actually catch a Vinemare. This might be the nightmare matchup here for Benjamin Ragan.
I mean, his start here is really, really good. He's got a lot of removal, some card advantage. It's not like Noga came out of the gate super fast, but Vinemare might invalidate all of Ragan's smaller advantages.
Well, there's a copy of Nicol Bolas the Ravager. So there will be a trigger, of course, making Steven discard a card.
Does Ragan have to tap mana?
I believe he does have to tap mana for his spells. That's part of how the game is played. So we'll make sure he actually taps mana for his card. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. I think it will be pretty good if it was free.
Yeah, that's page 1 of the rule book right there.
Pretty good card if it were free.
I guess the way to try to work your way around Vinemare is just damage race. I mean, if you can attack with evasion and maybe manipulate the Bloodfast in such a way, that's the path. But in terms of interacting via removing it from the battlefield, that's really challenging.
There's a forest. You got to remember, Vinemare cannot be blocked by black creatures, and that is exactly what Benjamin Ragan is working with right now. There's a Greenbelt Rampager. Trigger on the stack. Crew, the Heart of Kirin. You get a little energy for your troubles as well. Looks like Ben's going to help Steven get it in Jacob Ball energy token here if we can. In the meantime, though, Hashep Oasis is going to target the Vinemare. That means that horse is going to attack here for 8, and then it'll be 4 in the air. So that's a lethal attack, which means Nicol Bolas will either have to trade or there's going to have to be a fatal push here, folks. There's your trade. There's your hit for 8. Ragan going to fall down to 4. Maybe this is not so bad for Ben simply because he gets to transform that Argo's Bloodfast.
Yep. I mean, this is sort of the backdoor way of managing a Vinemare for this deck is assemble a battlefield powerful and recursive enough with things like Torrential Gearhulk and especially the Scarab God, where you can just gain 5 a turn incidentally off of your flip Bloodfast while you're doing other things. Ragan right now doesn't really have the infrastructure set up to do that sort of thing, but that's the path.
Daniel Barkon going to win game number 1 here over Oliver Tomajko in Legacy. Lands very quickly up a game over Grixis Death Shadow. Not too surprising, I think. Really tough matchup there for Grixis Shadow. Quincy Siphoner comes in again. Little bit of energy there. Let's see what the fob's going to be. Is this going to be a Liliana? Okay. Looks like Ben's going to tap a little bit differently there. Looks like he's going to use a Sulphur Falls. Leave up Dragon Skull Summon in the Temple. Liliana's going to minus. Bring back Nicol Bolas. Nicol Bolas will trigger. Make Steven Noga discard a card. Down goes a Scrounger. Good place for it in the graveyard.
So on the table, Ragan can get himself up to 8 with the Flint Bloodfast, plus the Nicol Bolas he can sacrifice. That means that a Hashep Oasis here should be lethal from Noga.
And of course, no blockers on the Elemental Horse. And there's your Temple activation. So Nicol Bolas will be sacrificed to the Temple. Gain a little bit of life here, will Benjamin Ragan.
So keep in mind, as the board is currently constructed here, Noga can ignore the Liliana because all the Liliana amounts to next turn is a zombie. That zombie allows Ragan to sacrifice through the Bloodfast up to 5, and the Vinemare is still lethal.
Yep.
Also, I'm not really that interested in playing through a flipped Nicol Bolas the following turn.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of fallout from that. So I like the attack of just going after Ragan and forcing the issue with the Bloodfast.
All right, here's a Thorn Lieutenant. So Steven Noga is just emptying his hand now at this stage. We're going to head back over to Benjamin Ragan, who's in some serious trouble now. Time for him to draw a card. And does he have any way out from underneath it? We mentioned the one Torrential Gearhulk, and I think, as you put it, if the stars align,
right,
a Doomfall.
Well, now that's all. That's not happening now.
No, it's not happening now at all.
There were windows, but we're past that.
Yeah. And there's a zombie after the Liliana activation. A couple of lands placed into the graveyard. And there's a hub.
I'm a little surprised here that Ragan elected not to draw with the Siphoner. Because the difference between 3 and 2 here, your Bloodfast plus Zombie is still no good. So I'm interested to see why the 1 point matters as much as Ragan seems to suggest that it did.
It's a good question. Here's 4 mana. Looks like this will be a Vraska's Contempt.
Vraska's Contempt doesn't answer that question either because he goes up to effective 7. He could have gone to 6 and still taken the Vinemare hit.
Well, there goes Greenbelt Rampager. That's the best thing to kill on the battlefield at this stage. Let's see what the follow-up is. Another copy of Let's Say Siphoner, another energy.
So now on the table, a Blossoming Defense is lethal.
Correct.
Because Ragan can only pull himself up to 7 here.
In 7th place with 19 points, Patrick Hartzell. And our last player in 8th place, also with 19 points, Joseph Cockrell. These standings are now being posted. Okay. Please go take a look at these. Make sure that they are what you think they are. These will be final in about 1 minute.
Yeah, Ben. A little unsure of how he wants to move forward on this particular turn.
Once again, Legacy Classic players, your final standings are being posted.
Jonathan Rosum here tagging in for a little bit of assistance. Again, I'm not sure why Ragan passed on that Siphoner card.
A little surprised by that, too, as he's going to gain an energy here, up to 5.
There's no permutation of the turn we've seen thus far where 1 life makes a difference on how things shake out.
Yep.
He's not even playing around Blossoming Defense at this point. That's just lethal. So,
yeah, Blossoming Defense and the Oasis are lethal cards right now.
and it's no different if he was on 5 or 4.
Yep.
That's the same regardless.
Legacy Classic top 8 competitors, please meet your head judge at the judge station to the right of the stage.
Well, the easy part's attacking with the Elemental Horse and Vinemare.
Well, if Noga can't produce lethal this turn, there is the question of whether he wants to get rid of Liliana or attack.
It's true.
Because Ragan's down to 1 card in hand. The Liliana is dangerous with some number of draws.
Well, the tricky part here, right, is you can attack for 5, put him down to 2 once he sacrifices the zombie, and then Liliana can get back Nicol Bolas and it can transform.
Yeah, so if you can't do it this turn, I like, just Ragan's getting low on resources, though I guess it's confusing with the Siphoner.
Okay.
Well, that's empty-handed for Noga. You can still get back the Scrap Heat Scrounger at the end of Ragan's turn.
Still do some attacking and continue to build up a nice battlefield. So we're going to head back over to Benjamin Ragan, who is going to pay a life now to draw a card, along with 2 energy. And will he do that again?
Well, if he goes to 3, that's the line where now, as his board is currently constructed, he can't survive the Vinemare attack because he can only pull himself up to 5. But the question is, do you just need to spike something big here to keep your head above water anyway? He may only be drawing to Torrential Gearhulk, and at that point, just take the extra card and hope for the best.
Tough spot. It's all these minor things, but they all add up around drawing Torrential Gearhulk, basically. I think you just have to take as many looks at it as you can.
That's my sense. I mean, I don't know for sure, but my guess is you have to draw to Torrential Gearhulk anyway. It's not even like your position is, if you draw normal cards, you still have to deal with the rest of the battlefield too. It's not like it's just about Weimar at this point. There are several threats that are going to be coming out that are a little bit challenging to manage. And yeah, I think you just got to you got to spike something big. It's probably just Torrential Gear Hulk. There may be other draws as well, but I think you've got to give yourself a shot here.
Well, Scarab God's not bad.
Yeah, Scarab God would certainly play too.
Scarab God in combination with the Temple's not bad.
Yeah, that's the recursive setup where you can gain 5 a turn. That manages the Weimar attacks.
Yep.
And if you have enough mana, you can cast the Scarab God every turn, sacrifice it to the flipped Bloodfast, use the leftover mana to recur something, and actually start making forward progress. Actually get some traction going that way. And Ragan has a lot of mana to work with. I don't think he quite has 10, which is the flashpoint where that line becomes available, but he's getting close, and in the interim, he can at least tread water against the Weimar.
Looked like Ragan was thinking about maybe casting Commit. He also has a copy of Nicol Bolas, and I think he's more interested in casting the latter.
Yeah, I mean, Nicol Bolas gives him a lot of flexibility on the blocks next turn for 2 reasons. One is it's large enough to manage some of the stuff that Noga has. Set aside the Weimar for a second. The other is you now can gain 4 off the Bloodfast, so you have the Weimar managed for a turn, and it gives you a lot of flexibility on what other blocks are available to you.
Looks like, boy, an attack here seems a little risky.
Yeah, I mean, he can't ship into that board.
Maybe no creatures in the graveyard to bring back from the Scrounger?
I think that might be it.
Yeah?
I mean, a lot of stuff's been exiled thus far. So
Yeah, a couple of copies of Vraska's Contempt have been cast. There's a forest. That's land number 6 for Thorn Lieutenant's activation. Thorn Lieutenant, when you pay 6 mana, gets +4/+4. And I think an attack here with everything is actually pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, you had to put Nicol Bolas has to go. I believe has to go in front of the Steel Leaf Champion.
Yep.
Because your other creatures cannot. So you're looking at something like Nicol Bolas in front of Steel Leaf Champion, chump block the Thorn Lieutenant, sacrifice Nicol Bolas to the Bloodfast, keep yourself alive for 1 more turn.
And it continues to be a lot more of that than
Right.
anything.
It doesn't get, and that position doesn't really get better. And the Weimar is now lethal next turn yet again.
Attention players in the Standard Classic. If you made the top 8 of that event, again, please make sure you take your deck to the deck check area.
It feels somewhat straightforward right now.
Well, I mean, he does have, it looks like he has both Fatal Push and Commit to Memory. So,
Well, Commit's going to cost 4 mana, and that means he won't be able to use the Temple.
right, okay, so yeah.
that's just off the
right.
table. And it looks like everything's going to jump in front of Thorn Lieutenant. Okay. So this is an opportunity to use that Fatal Push.
Maybe. I think this is so, blocking like this, over blocking like this, for no reason, so transparently suggests that he has a removal spell that Noga probably just wants to pass. Because you still get to kill 2 things.
So you get to kill 2 Glincy Siphoners.
And have your mana left over to get this. So I think you need to, if you're going to put a bunch of stuff in front of the Thorn Lieutenant, you need to make a block that's believable.
Yep.
Because if you overblock for no reason, he's just going to say, okay, fine, pass, kill whatever, get back the Scrounger. He also gets a token for his trouble, assuming that you're going to be using some sort of removal spell.
Yep.
I'd almost rather just chump block the Thorn Lieutenant, prevent him from getting anything back with the Scrounger, than making some transparent block here that suggests you have a removal spell and letting Noga trap you a little bit by just passing. I mean, isn't Noga just going to go, okay, Siphoner 1, Siphoner 2, pass?
That's what I would do in this spot. Because your creature doesn't even live through the pump.
There's no.
Well, I guess it does. It actually does live through the. It turns into a 6/7.
But that's the reason why there's no reason to overblock here. If there's nothing to be gained by overblocking.
The only thing that's gained by overblocking is now once you kill his creature, he doesn't get his Scrounger back.
No, I'm saying if I'm in Noga's position,
You do nothing.
I don't buy that this is just a face-up block. There's got to be some removal spell, because why would he just triple chump? That's
Yep.
what this block amounts to.
Yep. So there's a fatal push.
Yeah, I mean, Ragan got paid out here, and I think Noga here would have been better served just I'll pass.
Yeah, I'll kill both your Glinsu Siphoners. Now he'll get a 1/1 from this. He'll get a 1/1 elf. The 1/1 elf is not the exact same as a Scrounger on the battlefield, actually. They are actually different cards in this instance. And then Ragan's going to take 5. He's going to fall down to 2. After the Vinemare deals its damage. So we'll work on getting an elf token out here, but they can continue play, of course.
Now Ragan's position again is he got paid out for that block. I thought was a little risky, but Noga cooperated, and he's a little bit better off for it. But he's still in trouble. He needs to draw very specifically here to be able to manage the Vinemare the next turn. To say. To say nothing of the Steel Leaf Champion, which is now also unblockable on the following turn here, as Ragan is left with nothing but small creatures.
So what comes next here for Ben?
I think he may have drawn a copy of Supreme Will.
Gets a little deeper into his deck, I guess.
I don't know if he has enough mana for Supreme Will into Torrential Gear Hulk, and if you can't do that, I don't know what you're drawing into.
Yep. Again, we're on a battlefield right now where Commit's Memory does essentially 0. We're very close to it because it doesn't solve the Vinemare problem. Supreme Will does close to 0.
I mean, you have to cast it. If your hand's a dead end, you have to cantrip, even if there's nothing going on.
Yep.
I think Ragan is finally tapped out here, but we'll find out in a moment. I mean, a large creature could still, if he draws a Nicol Bolas, then
Champion of Wits. Okay.
he could potentially,
Champion of Wits is fine. It can block.
Oh yeah, Champion of Wits is good. Although now the issue is the Steel Leaf Champion.
That is an issue.
You don't have a
you don't have a big enough creature.
Yep.
That's an issue. Okay. So what's interesting about that, the Steel Leaf Champion aspect of things is, had he just chumped the Thorn Lieutenant instead of putting all the creatures in front, blocks with just say like a Glinsu Siphoner or a zombie, whatever.
Yeah.
Then his creature dies. He takes the 5 from the Vinemare, goes on at 2. His Fatal Push is revolted. He can kill the Steel Leaf Champion with the revolted Fatal Push.
And now he's actually.
And then he's actually like still playing. Not
Right.
sure if he's winning, but he's still playing. So either way, Steven Noga does win game number 1 here over Benjamin Ragan, and the team of Daniel Barkon, Kellen Pastore, and Steven Noga are all up a match here. So Land's up a game over Oliver Tomajko playing Grixis Shadow. Kellen Pastore up a game over Jonathan Rosum. That's Green Tron against Jeskai Control. And Steven Noga up a game here over Benjamin Ragan. That's Mono Green Aggro against Grixis Midrange. We'll go to the sideboards. We'll start with Benjamin Ragan, who's got 3 Duress, 2 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Negate, 2 Yeheni's Expertise, and a Braid of Doomfall, a Torrential Gear Hulk, a Jace's Defeat, a Vonus Hunger, haven't seen that one in a while, and a Glimmer of Genius.
I just want a little bit more play against Vinemare. The top of the list is Yeheni's Expertise, lines up very well there. The Torrential Gear Hulk counts. And if the game's going to be a little bit slower post-board, I don't mind the Glimmer of Genius, too. Benjamin Ragan's drawing to some very high-leverage cards. Glimmer of Genius is a little bit on the slow side, but I think he needs to find his pieces to fight over Vinemare.
Other side of things here for Steven Noga. 3 Hour of Glory, 2 Aethersphere Harvester, 2 Thrashing Bronton, 2 Vivian Reed, And a bunch of one-ups here in Nissa Vital Forest, Vraska Relic Seeker, Sky Sovereign Council Flagship, Naturalize, Lifecrafter's Bestiary, and most importantly, the 4th Fine Mare.
Yeah, 4th Fine Mare, the Planeswalkers, and some number of Hour of Glory is what I would want to bring in here.
This is tough. With you just see how good Vine Mare is in the matchup. Even if you know it's coming, like we're probably going to see Yehenni's Expertise come in. Here's the thing about Yehenni's Expertise. It is good against Vine Mare and bad against a lot of the other cards in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, is that you have a lot of cards that can manage everything else in a variety of ways, and then hopefully your Expertise lines up the right way against Vine Mare. It's still an uphill, battle. It's a losing proposition, but it's much better than we saw in the first game, where Ragan had so much card advantage, so much material to work with, but just couldn't find an answer to a Vine Mare.
Well, those are the options there for both players. They're gonna obviously sideboard and consult each other's deck list, because you get the opportunity to do that in elimination rounds. But while they work on that, we are going to very quickly talk about for the last time this week in the StarCityGames.com YouTube page, where you can become one of over 130,000 subscribers for a whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on the Star City Games YouTube page, Versus Series, Commander Versus, Flashback, Best at the SCG Tour, and much more, your favorite personalities. You can subscribe today at youtube.com/StarCityGames, get notified when new content is uploaded to the page. Become one of over 130,000 subscribers. 100,000.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Join today. It's free. Go check it out.
There you go, using that free word again.
Free. It's all.
I'm a big fan of free.
Yeah, assuming you value your time at 0, and let's be honest, you're already watching a lot of Magic coverage.
Might as well watch that too.
Might as well watch that too.
I agree. The team of Oliver Tomajko, Jonathan Rosum, and Ben Ragan have been in first place for the majority of the weekend, truth be told. Right now, their backs are certainly up against the wall, and some difficult matchups for them, as good of the player as Oliver Tomajko is, and a former SCG Tour champion. I'm not sure there's a lot he can do to overcome lands given what he's playing.
Well,
That's
think
tough.
Spend 2 or 3 turns getting myself set up so I can play a vanilla 5/5 or 6/6. Is not a winning recipe against lands.
No, they don't care about a Grimback Angler or a Death Shadow in most instances.
Bunch of Maze of Iths that can kill you super fast, block you out in a variety of ways. To say nothing of recurring Wasteland, an element that Tomajko's deck doesn't have a ton of recourse against.
For Jonathan Rosum, a great Jeskai control player and a great player in general, lost in the finals of Minneapolis a little bit earlier this year when he was playing the Jeskai control deck. He lost in the finals to Humans. And this is another great run for him. Keep in mind, he top-8 last weekend in Worcester too, but he's in another tough matchup against Mono Green Tron, and Kellen Pastore is very good. And now here for Benjamin Ragan, well, you saw as good as he may have played that game, look, there's not a lot he can do against Vine Mare.
It's really problematic, and it's a recipe we've seen. The Grixis mid-range deck just generating so much advantage. It feels like it shouldn't be that hard to modify the deck to have a little bit more game against it, because you're ahead on so many other fronts, and then it's this random 4-mana creature, I'm just dead.
Yeah. You saw Joe Lissette earlier in the weekend. He moved towards Hour of Devastation, but he only had 1.
Yeah.
And he drew it quite a bit when we watched him play, but he only had 1. As an Abrade will take care of that Llanowar Elves. The follow-up now is the Thorn Lieutenant. A Fetid Pools went into the battlefield tap there for Ben. We'll head back over to Noga, who will attack for 2 and now play some sort of 3-mana spell. He's just deciding which one it's going to be. It seems like he's got a couple of options. Go with Thrashing Bronson on. Essence Scatter, I believe, will take care of that, and it will. So we head back over to Benjamin Ragan now. He'll draw a card.
And I think we're in some color issue here.
Well, there's the hub. Going to have to use the hub to cast Nicol Bolas. So discarding a card, Thrashing Bronson on will bite the dust. And if you are Benjamin Ragan, you might be thinking, okay, I might be in some trouble here because, okay, well, this again.
Ah, yes, old friend. Hello.
Yes, this again.
Although Benjamin Ragan does have Torrential Gearhulk in hand.
Okay. That's important, as here is the champion of wills, here to make Benjamin Ragan draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. There's Dragon Skull Summit. And this looks like it might be Argyl's Bloodfast again. So we're working ourselves into a very similar equation as to what we saw in the first game. Vinemare coming on in. Curious to see if Benjamin Ragan's going to chump block here with the champion of Wills or not. Looks like the answer is no. Take the 5. Somewhat incentivized to get that Argyl's Bloodfast to transform.
Yeah, I think if it's close, you just take the hit straight away.
Well, there's a Steel Leaf champ. There's Llanowar Elves, past the turn back. Not quite sure what the last card in hand right now is for Stephen Noga, but it could be discarded to a future copy of Nicol Bolas. There's land 6. Let's see, has he got double blue out there? He got plenty of blue mana for a Torrential Gear Hulk.
All right, let's see how Noga wants to navigate this.
And see, this is one of the spots, and this is the reason why a card like Thrashing Brontonon, it's not great in the matchup, but this is one of the spots where it's very good.
Yeah, they have so few answers to a Vinemare that just having Seal of Disenchant on the table is worth it.
That is worth a lot. Well, here it, not yet. Steel Leaf, oh wow, quite a few coming on in. Including Thorn Lieutenant, which leads me to believe that this is maybe a Blossom Defense, not a guarantee of that because 6 mana is available. A Braid is going to go after the Llanowar Elves. Good choice of target there.
Yeah.
Because now Thorn Lieutenant must be pumped. Ragan is working with perfect information on how to block.
Easy block here.
And these are easy
block. I think we're going to game 3 in a moment.
Yeah, Steel Leaf Champion's going to trade with Nicol Bolas. Champion of Wills is going to get in front of the Thorn Lieutenant, and obviously Torrential Gear Hulk is going to eat the Vinemare. Now, it looks like Ragan may not block the Steel Leaf Champion with the Nicol Bolas, which I'd be a little bit surprised. I suppose the thought process is I can take 5. I've got a Gear Hulk that's better than it, and I can always transform my Nicol Bolas.
Yeah. It's not like he's going to get burned out, so.
Down to 5, excuse me, Ragan will take 5 down to 8. Yeah, and this gives the next land so much equity as here comes Nicol Bolas in for 4. And that's the next land. And now we'll get a transformation of Nicol Bolas. And now the question is, what do I want to get back? And it looks like the question is answered. Vinemare, I'm going to use it against you now. A Forest is the draw there for Stephen Noga. And just a land and a passing of the turn. And there's really no way to come back here.
We're done.
Yeah. Nicol Bolas is going to get multiple activations, draw 2 cards now will Benjamin Ragan. And the cards that Ragan is drawing are much better than the ones that Noga is drawing.
Yeah, it feels like Noga is outclassed on a lot of fronts in this matchup, and it's just an issue of Vinemare. And Ragan came equipped with the Torrential Gear Hulk there, was able to block, and now you can see this, the huge gulf in card quality between these two decks.
Cut to ribbons. We'll take care of Steel Leaf Champion. Nice clean answer there. Here comes a pretty healthy attack. And now the Scarab God. Well, one of these players has better cards than the other.
Yes.
That's for sure. As Benjamin Ragan's going to tie things up here against Stephen Noga. Grixis mid-range going to tie things up against Mono Green Aggro. And you can say the same there for Oliver Tomajko and Daniel Barkon at the top. Tomajko tie things up with Grixis Death Shadow against Lands. So the only thing we don't know right now is what's going on with Jonathan Rosum and Kellen Pastore outside of Kellen Pastore still up a game there over Awesome Rosum. The sideboards are there again for you to view at home, and I don't think a ton changes between the two. And it looks like for Steven Noga, who's probably played this matchup quite a few times this weekend, he's already shuffling up, getting ready for Game 3.
Yeah, I imagine the Brontodons and some number of Hour Glory, some number of Planeswalkers, the extra Vine Mare, all ready to go.
And it doesn't look like Benjamin Ragan has much to change either right now at this stage of things. His card quality was able to overwhelm Steven Noga there. So these players will play game number 3 here in just a moment. You just see both of them kind of checking in on their teammates. So while they do that, we'll talk one last time about StarCityGames.com Game Night, the very popular promotion where you can bring some fun and friendly magic to your local store.
Yeah, you can head over to go.starcitygames.com/game night to find out more information. Every month, Star City Games produces new pins and tokens that we send to stores that are signed up for Game Night, and then stores run Game Night however they want to, just to get players in the store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly magic. It's July kit, Playing with Fire, and a couple more coming down the pipeline. In August, we have Order of the First Cheese, and then in September, Garden Tendencies. Again, go.starcitygames.com/game night. Find the Game Night closest to you in stores. If you want to get signed up for Game Night, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
Well, we're getting ready here for the third and final one. The winner of this match, remember, may give their team the lead depending on how things do line up. But the team that wins this match, well, they already know who their finals opponent is going to be. It's a team of Christopher Giuliano, Timothy Giuliano, and Matthew Volts. They won their match over Candy, Keeney, and Turnbull. So congratulations to the Giulianos and Volts. That's, of course, Infect, Mono Green Tron, and Red Black Aggro on to the finals. Steven Noga going to be on the play here this game against Benjamin Ragan. And you saw what happens if the game starts to go a little bit long. That means that Benjamin Ragan, his card quality will overwhelm Steven Noga's. It'll be too easy.
Yeah. I mean, the gulf in card quality is enormous.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not even like those mono green cards are bad per se, but they're just not as good as what Grixis is bringing to the table.
Well, also, a lot of what Mono Green Aggro does is just put numbers on the table. It's pretty easy for Grixis mid-range to break that up with removal spells that don't care about numbers on the table.
Yeah.
Vimare just happens to be a particular case.
Also, shout out to Steven Noga, green sleeves on the mono green deck.
Love it.
Just let it be known.
Love it.
This is what I'm doing. Doesn't look like the hand was good enough, though. Mono green, a deck that can win on a mulligan to 6, doesn't have much interest on a mulligan to 5, as Ben Regan is going to show Jonathan Rosum his hand. Rosum has tied things up here against Kellen Pastore. So, 1-1s across the board, my friend.
Mm-hmm. After starting off 0-1, straight down the line.
Mm-hmm. Fighting back. That's what I like to see in a semifinal match. Steven Noga going to be looking at 6 cards here in just a moment. Keep in mind, next weekend, the SCG Tour does roll on. We'll be in Indianapolis next week, and Matthias Hunt, Ryan Overturf, Nick Miller, and the rest of the SCG Tour crew will be bringing you that show. Should be a good one there. A little bit of modern action. Noga says he will keep. It's time to scry. Let's see if he's happy with that card or not. Giving it a long think, that's for sure. And it's going to become the bottom card of his deck now. And that is a Blooming Marsh to kick things off as we head back over to Benjamin Ragan. Dragon Skull Summit, passing of the turn. Let's go back over to Steven Noga. Noga with a forest. He's got a 2-drop. It'll be a Thorn Lieutenant before we head back over to Benjamin Ragan. Ragan will play a Fetid Pools. Let's go back over. Third land, Steel Leaf Champion. It's a good mulligan so far.
Yep. And Ragan here with back-to-back tapped lands. No threat of Essence Scatter there on turn number 2.
Let's see what we have here. It's a Doomfall. I'm going to make him sacrifice a creature. Okay. Draw a card. Keep in mind that creature is exiled. But that Steel Leaf champion will be trucking onto the red zone here in just a moment. There's Ronus the Indomitable in for 5.
High risk, high reward card in this kind of matchup. It's awesome if you're able to manage it, but not easy to do against all of Grixis' removal spells.
Ragan going to fall down to 13 after that big hit. Let's see what this is. Looks like another Doom fall.
Not the worst case scenario here for Noga. Gotta say.
Well, Kellen Pastore said sacrifice your Steel Leaf champion, which is pretty telling because it leads me to believe that there's obviously another 5-power creature in hand. There's a Steel Leaf champion in for 5. Puts you down to 8. Pass the turn back. And given that Stephen Noga is not playing any lands, I have to imagine there's at least one Vine Mare in there.
Probably.
And that'll turn on the Ronus again. So Ronus could be a problem here, as that is a Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah, and now Ragan just has to cross fingers and hope that he fades land number 4, or if it's there, that it's not good enough.
Well, that's Lifecraft.
Good news for
Best
Ragan.
here. Yeah, no kidding. Picked up a copy of Nicol Bolas now, too, did Benjamin.
Couldn't untap fast enough there. I mean, Nicol Bolas is not great in this spot with Noga having a hand glutted here, but if he's able to abrade the bestiary, leave up remove soul, or excuse me, Essence Scatter, which I believe is in hand.
Yep. There's Thrashing Bronson on. I think you probably want to Essence Scatter that just to keep the battlefield somewhat clear.
I don't think you can just afford to leave up 2 mana for forever here. His hand's jammed up. He's missing land drops.
Well, we're going to keep going Benjamin Ragan's way. Rosum helping out here. The birthday boy in the middle. There's Nicol Bolas.
All right, here we go. I mean, fingers crossed if you can fade land number 4 here. But if Noga goes land Vine Mare, Ragan's in not the most enviable position of having to decide whether or not he wants to chump block or fall to 5.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more difficult then. Going to discard Hour of Glory. There's land 4. There's Vine Mare. In. This is what you were talking about.
Yep. And now is it, do you chump or do you?
Or do you take the 5?
Yeah, they're both are ugly.
Ragan's 5th land into the battlefield taps too, so it makes you wonder if he's got the 6th one or if he needs to peel it off the top. He did miss a land drop,
yeah.
So he's going to have to peel the 6th land off the top for a potential torrential Gear Hulk.
And whatever was the leftover in Noga's hand here, he felt that it was better than Hour, which is quite a lot here.
Because Hour's really good right now.
Really good right now, and he let that one go. I would guess it's either another Hour or another Vine Mare. Those are the only cards that make sense here.
Looks like it may have been a Vraska's Contempt that was drawn, but here's a Champion of Wits. Draw 2, discard 2. Now keep in mind, Ronus gives the creature trample. Plus 2/+0 and trample. Here's Argo's Bloodfast. Now, if there is an Hour of Glory in hand here, you kill that Champion of the Wits. This game is over. This gets interesting. Time to check in. All right, both coming. Got to block, of course, otherwise the game's over. Interestingly enough, we do not see an activation of Ronus there.
There's one there, which I spotted obviously now.
To give Vine Mare trample.
Yes. Those are
In which case it would have been a hit from 7 power, 7-1 is 6. Let's see what this is. Brontodon, blow that up.
Love that play.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, don't let him flip that land over. You're covered against, I don't know if you're covered against Torrential Gear Hulk. I guess this cuts him off of a land, which is part of the issue with Torrential Gear Hulk is him hitting land number 6.
Four mana.
Noga's got to be thrilled to see any tapping of mana on the main phase. If it's not Torrential Gear Hulk, you kind of do whatever you want.
It's a Field of Ruin. Gonna blow up the Blooming Marsh.
So I guess this is playing around Hour, but I don't buy that that's in Noga's hand because he would have killed you last turn. I mean, if it, whatever. I guess it's low cost if you're playing Contempt anyway.
This is kind of risky, right? Well, I guess, are you beating Blossoming Defense anyway?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, his hand is. I think the leftover is the Scarab God, which just is basically just DOB if he plays that.
Yep. Also, I believe Steven Noga does have another black source. So he's just whittling away one. Draw a card. And Oasis or Blossoming Defense is lights out. It's going to be attack here for 5. So it's not game over just yet. Let's see what comes next, if anything. Looks like Steven having a little conversation with Kellen on what to do. Steven knows he's in a great position right now.
I'm guessing there, if he's talking about this at all, it's probably another threat that can be killed by Yahini's expertise.
Yeah?
Noga can be pretty confident it's not there right now, but Ragan's got to draw a step to find it.
Yahini's expertise would be really good right now. But I like the teamwork here between the two. This maybe Thorn Lieutenant? Scrounger?
I mean, Scrounger's not. I mean, if it's a Scrounger, that plays easy.
Yeah, Scrounger's pretty free. I'm curious.
Because deploying a second threat here doesn't do anything about Torrential Gear Hulk. Because Torrential Gear Hulk flashes back a spell that kills whatever you play.
Vraska's Contempt, whatever it is.
He has 1 Doomfall left in his deck. He's played 2. He sides into a 3rd copy. He's got the 2 copies of Yahini's expertise. Those are the things that get you in trouble here.
You draw Doomfall? Jeez.
Ooh.
Jeez.
All right. I mean, he's been slow rolling some stuff. I mean, the leftovers in his hand have to be something.
Brontodon, which is just okay. And so it was definitely a Thorn Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Okay. So expertise isn't a game winner.
And the Scarab God doesn't do anything either.
Nope.
He's got 2 attackers. Really good discipline here from Noga.
Whew.
Ragan even drew an out, and he still had him covered on the way back. That's great.
Well, he did, but it required him to draw another. He actually required him to draw another threat.
Sure.
It required Steven Noga to draw another threat. So if he had played the Thorn Lieutenant, he would have been safe from the Doomfall. But obviously, he's playing around either 1 Doomfall or one expertise.
Yep.
That was the decision. Here's the draw. Well, Benjamin Ragan can look as confident as he wants.
If he untaps, you're dead.
Yep.
So
you got to attack. If he has Fatal Push, you're dead. Yep. Play a land. Attack with both. That's going to do it. Steven Noga is going to win this game and match for his team over Benjamin Ragan. He'll win this match for his team over Benjamin Ragan, giving them a 1-0 lead. As Kellen Pastore, Jonathan Rosum, they're in game number 2. And we'll head over to Modern and see exactly what's going on there between those 2 players. Daniel Barkon and Oliver Tomajko, they look like they're pretty deep into a 3rd game here with lands and Grixis Death Shadow. So we turn our attention towards Modern, if we're able, and get an idea of exactly what's going on there.
Looks like we got some de-sleeving happening over in Legacy.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting too. Boy, look at this. For Kellen Pastore, I see a hand with an Ulamog, 2 Ancient Stirrings. That's been revealed from Medallion Click. Quite a few lands on the battlefield. It appears as though he may have Tron, along with an Oblivion Zone and a Thragtusk. For Jonathan Rossum, it's a Stony Silence and Medallion Click that's been cast. Quite a few cards in hand, but not a ton of lands on the battlefield. So we're working ourselves into the mid-game here of game number 3. Looks like Ulamog's going to go to the bottom of the deck. And now Kellen's going to play a copy of Ancient Stirrings. So we'll take a look at the top 5 cards and take a colorless card with him.
A lot of big draws here, obviously.
Found one. Maybe not the biggest draw.
Yeah, that's relatively tame here. It's still incredible, of course, but
Now here's another Stirrings.
we go a lot bigger than that over around these parts.
Is that better?
We go a lot
Is that
bigger.
better? Are you
We
happy?
go a lot
Are
bigger.
you happier with that? Now, if Kellen does have Tron, he's going to go up to the top with a Karn.
I don't know if he would have selected Karn without Tron. It's a weird.
It's fair. Here's an attack. There's your block. I believe it's tower power plant.
Yeah,
Just because his power plant's covering up one of the lands.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's Tron. Okay, and he's going to take out the red source, exposing himself a little bit to lightning bolt.
I mean, in
But
game 3, and he's got no red, and he's got no red mana now.
Yeah, it would require a red source and a bolt in hand. You know. There's the beast token from the Thragtusk dying. But Jonathan Rosum is in some serious trouble now as he'll draw a card. Well, Oliver's a lock. He won in Legacy. He overcame lands, which I imagine is probably a pretty difficult matchup for him, but not difficult enough. He got the job done there, did the former member of the U.S. national team. And so now it all comes down to this, and Rosum is staring down a pretty tough spot. Knows the opponent has an active Karn and a Thought-Knot Seer in hand.
Yep.
And no red mana for Rosum. As you see, he has an Electrolyze in hand, Path to Exile 2. And the carnage is about to begin, partner. Up to 7 goes Karn. Electrolyze will be placed under there. The follow-up. Looks like it's going to be a Thought-Knot Seer. Not just yet. I'm going to start by attacking. Kellen very patient. Not even sure if he needs to actually cast a spell right now, truth be told. And I actually, this might not seem like much as there's a Snapcaster Mage. I like the attack first. And I also like the plan of, I might just hold this this Thought-Knot Seer until I want to play it to clear a path for a spell.
Right.
You know, because why play it into open mana? Let's see what this is. Jace, maybe? All right. One of these Planeswalkers is better than the other. You don't say that often about Jace either.
Yeah. Rare for Jace to be outclassed, but very much so here.
Yeah. Ross going to draw 3 cards. We'll be putting 2 back here in just a moment. Snapcaster's going to knock down Karn to 5 counters, but if you've ever tried to attack a Karn down, you know that's a
hard way to do it.
Yeah, it's not easy. That's not easy. Not any one ideas of fun. Here's Thought-Knot Seer. Let's check out what's going on. Path to Exile, gone, and just lands, one of which is a Flooded Strand, which can find red mana. If Karn wants to take care of Jace, it can.
Well, you have to imagine if you're in Pastore's position that Rosum has hid something relevant on the top of the deck.
I would guess a red spell of some type, because if Karn goes down to 2 to take care of Jace, and you draw something like an Electrolyze to kill Karn, you're playing Magic again.
Yep.
Going to take care of that. There's a Tron land, pass the turn back. Rosum, what'd you leave on top, John? John left the path on top. That'll work just fine, too. Rosum will now draw a card from the path, killing the Thought-Knot Seer. Now Snapcaster Mage gets to go after Karn, and all of a sudden, Patrick, we might have a game again.
Yeah, if Rosum can knock this Karn out, as you said, we are playing Magic again. Now, Pastore still Tron assembled. A million huge draws.
Yes.
Rosum drained of all of his resources, basically. He's down, I think, to just a Snapcaster Mage in hand. So we're not in a good spot by any means from Rosum's side, but he can keep playing.
He gave himself a shot. He'll play Flooded Strand. He's going to sacrifice here. Now, I'm curious what it looks like he's going to sacrifice that Flooded Strand right now and get a Steam Vents. And is he going to maybe Snapcaster or something like a Serum Business or something right now?
If he's sacking now, it would stand to reason.
All right. Stony Silence is doing a nice job on the O-Stone, of course. There's the Serum Visions. Now, I'm curious, oddly enough, if Kellen was maybe supposed to kill the Stony Silence to turn on the O-Stone.
I thought about that, too. I mean, I can understand. It requires Rosum to leave specifically another removal spell on the top of his deck that he can cast to kill Thought-Knot Seer to make this all happen. And even if that occurs, you aren't in that bad a shape. But
well, the reason I bring that play up is because now if you're Kellen, you've got a decent amount of bad draws.
yeah, I mean, there's the long-term implications about playing against Stony Silence.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about whether or not they have adjacent play. It's what's the aftermath of if it washes out like this and you need to play through Stony Silence with basically no hand.
Well,
all right, whatever.
Karn up to 10. Let's go back to Rosum. Big draw there from Kellen Pastore,
Yeah.
to say the least. There's another Serum Visions. Rosum will draw a card. Let's scry 2. Karn Liberated is one heck of a drug. I'll tell you what, this is a heck of a Magic card when you can cast it and you can activate it. Rosum going to knock down Karn to 6 again. Let's go back over to Kellen. If you're John, you're hoping he draws Chromatic Spheres, Chromatic Stars, Expedition Maps, stuff like that. That'll give you a fighting chance to maybe overcome Karn.
Although if he finds enough of cycling cantrips, he always has the option of, as you mentioned before, getting rid of Stony Silence and churning through the deck with all the mana in the world to work with to find some other large play.
Yep. And as Kellen ticks the die down, he is going to take care of Stony Silence now. And this turns on a healthy portion of his deck again. So there's Chromatic Star. He'll play that. Rosum looks like he's got something here. Negate. Okay.
I mean, he just can't afford to let Pastore cantrip into something with a large trigger.
Yeah. In. Okay, Karn dead. Would have been dead either way with the Oblivion Stone.
Yeah. Pastore definitely got his money, though, and he still has Oblivion Stone at the ready.
Yep.
So position still, again, he's drawing to – his whole deck is basically cantrips and cards that break Rosum here.
Yep.
So his position's very good.
And Kellen's got some life to work with, too, which
Yep.
I think is worth noting. So as he sits at 25, he might say, okay, I'll go down to 21. Now he draws a card. Crucible of Worlds, huh?
It's not – I mean, it's some covered against Field of Ruin, which is Rosum's one way of disrupting Pastore's mana from this spot.
Interesting one there. Could be Snapcaster Negate.
I mean, if Field of Ruin is still live for Rosum, then he's got to give himself a shot to draw it.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Well, Well, that's that. Ballista U for it all. And I think Kellen may have been holding that for a little while.
Yeah.
Either way, that's a ton of mana. Ballista will take care of it. And Kellen Pastore, Daniel Barkon, and Steven Noga will win this match over Oliver Tomajko, Jonathan Rosum, and Benjamin Ragan. And the team of Barkon, Pastore, and Noga. That's Lands. That's Mono Green Tron and Mono Green Aggro.